Welcome to Gemini Crime Theories. I'd like to start off by thanking all my subscribers and my viewers. Without you, I can't do this. And I'd like to say Happy Mother's Day, one of the hardest jobs in the world. When I first started this case, I thought I was going to have it up in a day. I thought, I can just throw on any video in a day. Oh boy, there was a lot more to this than I thought there was going to be. I really think I overdid myself with the first case. So if I forget something or I sound clammed up, please just bear with me. Because I got in front of the camera and I just freeze. So here we go. This is the disappearance of Nicole Morrin. And we're going to start at the beginning. Arthur and Jeanette Morin were a married couple that lived in Epicot, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I think this was Arthur's first marriage and Jeanette's second marriage. She was married, I can't find out when she was married, but I know she gave birth to a son, and I also know that this marriage ended badly. They had a very bitter custody battle over the son. And there was some reports that said the father just got and stole the son and moved to California. And some reports that said Jeanette lost full custody of her son. But I do know that she had, as far as I know, no communication with her son. And the whole time, pretty much he lived in California, to my understanding. And Arthur, he, as far as I know, had no children. So they wanted to have their own child. But Jeanette, she had a really rough time getting pregnant. But 12 years into their marriage, they gave birth on April 1st, 1977 to a little girl that they named Nicole Louise. Now, I don't see much written about her in her younger years, so I guess we're going to just start when she was 8. At 8 years old, Nicole Morrin was a bubbly, cheerful, energetic little girl. She loved to do ballet. She also loved to do, I guess, jazz. It was jazz, ballet, back and forth. And she also had a passion for swimming. As far as I could see, swimming was her biggest passion. Her go-to was McDonald's, like a lot of kids in the 80s. McDonald's, yay. And her favorite place to visit was Ontario Place. Her father said when she got in and when she walked in Ontario Place, she would just light up like a light bulb. I think that Arthur was very attached to Nicole. He was a truck driver, but I know that he spent a lot of time doting up on his daughter, from what I could understand. Well, when Nicole was 6 years old, her parents' marriage came to a bitter end, and they separated. And her father moved to Mississauga, as far as I know, and they moved to 627 the West Mall. It was a huge apartment building in Epicot, and they moved to the 20th floor. So I would say the penthouse in that, kind of. And this is where it all started. On July 30th, 1985. So let's tell Nicole's story. On that day, it was a very hot, sunny day. Nicole was talking with her mother about going swimming. At about 10 o'clock a.m. that morning, Nicole's mother asked Nicole if she go down to get the mail. And I guess her mother ran like a daycare, so there was other little kids running around. So Nicole, she did her little bit of thing. And her mother said at exactly 10:30 that morning, Nicole walked out her door, went from the 20th floor to the lobby, and grabbed the mail. When she got to the lobby, there was like, I guess you could say, like, you'd have to go through the door, and then there was like an intercom system. And it also, as far as I know, had a CTV scanning system on it, so you could see, if you were upstairs, you could see who was in the lobby buzzing you. And she buzzed, as far as I know, her name was Jen, her little friend, to ask her if she liked to go swimming. They set up to go swimming at 11 o'clock that morning, sorry. And she went back in. Now, this is where I don't know if her mother let her back in the lobby or she had the keys. She did have the key to the mailbox, so she could have had the keys. So she went in. She went back up to the 20th floor. She went in and spoke with her mother, and she said that her and Jen had plans to go swimming at exactly 11 o'clock. We'd be getting close to 11 o'clock now, because these elevators in the 80s, they were like, whew, slow. So Nicole went in the bedroom. She put on her peach coral one-piece bathing suit. Now, I also saw there's some discrepancies over the bathing suit. I do know it was peach or coral, but in some of the videos, it shows her, because there is a reenactment of this, it shows her with blue up here and then blue down here. And then in other videos, it shows the coral bathing suit, which was one piece, like I said, that had a blue striping that came across. So I'm not really sure about that, but I just know it was a coral one-piece bathing suit with blue somewhere on it. And she put on her little red canvas shoes. She put on her green little headband. She was carrying in her one arm her purple beach towel, and in the other hand she had a white clear, well, it wasn't clear, it was a plastic bag, but it was white, I guess you could say. Maybe it wasn't clear because you couldn't really see what was inside of it, truthfully. But in that bag, her mother says she had a white t-shirt, green and white shorts, suntan lotion, a hairbrush, and a peach blanket. She opened up the door. She said goodbye to her mother. Her mother said it was exactly 11 a.m. She walked out the door and she closed it with all her stuff. Her friend was down in the lobby. I think she got there like 2 minutes to 11 or something like that. Her friend was in the lobby sitting waiting for her with all her stuff, and there's been discrepancies over the elevator too. Some say that she saw the elevator go to the 20th floor, go to the stop on the 13th floor, and then come to the first floor. Other news articles say that her friend that was in the lobby saw the elevator go to the 20th floor. This one's strange. Stop on different floors on the way down. Go back to the 20th floor, and then it went from the 20th floor straight down to the first floor. When her friend went over to the elevator, the doors opened up and there was no Nicole. She was not in the elevator, so she waited. Still no Nicole. At 11:15, she went to the buzzing system and she buzzed up to ask Jeanette if Nicole was still going to come swimming with her. Jeanette said that she left and she already went to the pool, as far as she knows of, to go meet her. She left at 11, right on. Her friend said to Jeanette that she's not showing up in the lobby, and her mother said, oh, she probably went already out to the pool. She's probably out there, or maybe she met someone else on the way and she's gone off with them, which is strange considering, but okay. So her friend thought, oh, okay, maybe she's out at the pool. She went out to the pool and no sign of her, so she just went on with her swimming. Now, a lot of people said, why wouldn't she get back to Jeanette to say Nicole was not out at the pool? Well, I think it was due to the fact that Jeanette also said she might have took off with other kids, so maybe she feels like she was ghosted, I guess you could say, you know. So she did her swimming, and at about it was exactly 3 o'clock that afternoon, Jeanette still hadn't seen Nicole, so she thought she'd call the friend's mother. She called there, and the friend's mother explained that her daughter didn't see Nicole, that she wasn't at the pool, she didn't see her around outside, and also nobody else seen her. So they had no clue, and her friend, nobody else said that or told her friend that Nicole was over there, Nicole was over there. So her mother really didn't think much about it. A lot of people say, oh, this is the 80s, kids stayed outside all day, all the way until the street lights turned on. But this is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's been 4 hours, and her passion was swimming. So, okay. Time went on, and I guess a little boy that's not much older than Nicole showed up because they were going to she babysat this child. So I guess it was about 3:30 now. And she asked the child, this boy, if he go outside to the pool to see if Nicole was out there. So he went down, he came back up, and he said, no, Nicole wasn't at the pool. She asked him to go back down outside to see if Nicole May was around the building. Because I guess on this side, behind the building was the pool, but on this side of the building there was like these grate things. There were grates, and Nicole used to love to yell down the grates and hear her echo come back, and she did this with her friends. So she thought, oh, maybe she's over at the side of this building playing. But the boy went back upstairs and told Jeanette that no, she's nowhere. He walked that whole building, and nobody saw Nicole that he knows of. So Jeanette went on with her daycare. And at about 5:30, I would say, when Nicole didn't come in for dinner, now she started to go, where's Nicole? So to my understanding, at this point, she went downstairs to go and check the pool herself. And no Nicole. She walked around the building. I think she asked other people, but nobody saw her. Nobody at not the lifeguard, nobody saw Nicole. So she went back to go into the building, and the superintendent, to my understanding, was there, and she asked him, did you see Nicole? Or her. I don't know if it was a male or a female. I don't really know that. No. And when Jeanette explained what was going on, that she couldn't find Nicole and haven't seen Nicole since 11 o'clock, and she didn't show up for the swim, she wasn't outside when the boy went out, they decided that maybe it was best to call the police. So she talked with the person for a little bit, and exactly at 6 o'clock sharp, Jeanette looked at him and said, yes, we got to call the police. Now, this is some more discrepancies here, because some people say Jeanette went back upstairs to 24 and called police, but I kind of don't think that's what happened. I think the superintendent right there from the office, that was more in the police report, that she called from there. The superintendent called, and then she got on the phone to describe exactly. Yeah, that's what I would say more of. Her mother described Nicole as brown hair, brown eyes, about 5 foot tall. 51 pounds and 4 foot tall. Sorry about that. And they took down the report. I don't think that Toronto police knew at this time that this was going to turn into one of the largest child hunts ever in Toronto's history. It was the biggest task force ever for a missing child. And this is when it began. They showed up at the West Mall. They cordoned off the whole thing, like they blocked off that West Mall. Cops everywhere. There was 429 doors in this building, so they had a lot of doors to knock on. And they started right off the bat knocking at these doors. They went from, I think some started on each floor, and they just started knocking, and they had a picture from Jeanette of Nicole, and they thought, oh, somebody in the buildings had to have seen her. When they went to the 17th floor, I think it was, a woman said that she rode the elevator from the 17th floor down to the lobby with a little girl fitting this description. And she says she got off, she went towards the parking garage, and this little girl that was fitting Nicole's description walked towards the front doors, so where the intercom system, she saw her going towards that way, and she didn't see anybody else in the lobby at that point. She said that was around 11. I don't think that's factual. I think if she did see Nicole, it was probably maybe when she went down to get the mail at 10:30, more so. Because she would have saw her friend in the lobby at 11. And she said, this woman said there was nobody in the lobby. So maybe she did see Nicole. I mean, time, guys, come on. Sometimes it's like, oh, it was around this time. So I'm not saying the woman is, but I'm saying maybe it was 10:30 and not 11 that she saw, if she even did see her. Now, the only other person to say that anything about Nicole was, here's where Nicole lived, and right across from her was the people across from her, a woman came forward and said at 10:15 that morning, I don't know why she was in her hallway. She could have been out there for any reason, coming in, going out, doing garbage. I really don't know. But she said here's where they were at this end, and at this end of the hallway, she says she saw a woman, blonde hair, about 5'5", 5'7", approximately, attractive, almost like the Farrah Fawcett hair, but it was shorter, and she was attractive, and she was dressed all in white, and she had like a cream color thin blouse on, and she had a notebook. Now, I don't know if she said she was writing in this notebook, just looking at this notebook, I don't know. But anyway, the woman says she's never seen this woman before in the building, and that this woman just was standing there looking down the hallway, and it's threw her a little off, but she thought, okay, nothing of it. Maybe somebody's visiting that's never visited the building before. But that was the only lead. That the police put out so much about this woman, until this day, no woman or anybody fitting her description has ever come forward. And this was in 1985, so it wasn't like they had a lot of social media as much as they do today, where they could just get it out everywhere. But they tried, and no one ever did come forward to say that they were the person that was in the 20th floor that day on July 30th. The police started right off the bat. They made 6,000 missing posters. They put them up everywhere, and they offered a $1,000 reward to anybody who could bring information to them. They also gathered a 20 police task force in order to start working on Nicole's case. 900 civilians joined this task force in order to start ground searching for Nicole. They also the next morning, they also put out tracking dogs. They put out the helicopters. They put Mounties on horses. They also put out the Marines. I mean, they went all out looking for her. And they also did, I can't remember. They also did a reenactment that they put online on every news channel. And they also, in Max Milk, there was a television where they set it up where it just kept on looping for anybody that came in to see that. They did a lot in this case. They put in 25,000 man hours, and they also put up $100,000 reward for the safe return of Nicole. They spent $1.8 million on this. And still to this day, not one or anyone has come forward with evidence in this case. It's been 37 years and no sign of Nicole at all. There's theories, lots of theories on this one. The theories were that, when the police first started looking at this, of course they're going to think, this is just, Nicole went out, they went off of the woman seeing her go to the lobby. And at first they thought, well, she went outside, she made out there before her friend did, and she was a victim of opportunity, unfortunately. A monster came along, saw her, persuaded her, and she walked off. And for some reason, nobody in this huge building saw anything. Another thing was that they thought maybe what happened was maybe when Nicole was going outside or going over to the grates with her friends, that maybe somebody out there that nobody knows about was kind of like grooming her. That could be a possibility too. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't personally, because of the friend being in the lobby as long as she was, I don't even think she made it off that floor personally. And the task force looked at a lot of different angles. Now, unfortunately, I think it was just 10 months earlier, there was another little girl. Her name, in Toronto, her name was Christine Jessup. It happened in October 3rd, 1984. She was a victim of opportunity. She was only 9 years old. She was out riding her bike. And a man named Kelvin Hoover unfortunately came upon her. And unfortunately, Christine's body was found, I don't think long after that. Yeah, I don't think it was too long after that. But it wasn't until a couple of years ago that DNA matched Kelvin Hoover. Now he's deceased, so unfortunately he's not going to pay for his crime. But it was a match. So they thought Kelvin Hoover's it. That's the guy. He was at the building. He ran into Nicole and boom. Same thing, victim of opportunity. But to think that there wasn't supposed to be a lot of cameras in this building, and supposedly some of the cameras were down. So it could be possible that he was visiting somebody in the building, and she was just there, just like, unfortunately, Christine was. But he'd have to be right there at that exact time. And I personally don't think he did it. There was never been anything to tie him to this case or to tie him to Nicole's case. No DNA. Well, for one, they've never found Nicole. And, Arthur, he did a lot in this case. He quit his trucking job. He put out, a lot of money, guys. This was against the police. They didn't want him doing this, but he hired a detective, and when that detective came up empty, he went and hired another detective, and when that one, he could not stop. He wanted to know what happened with his daughter. About a month, I would say, into, just hang on, guys. Sorry here. Sorry, guys. The phone rang and I totally forgot where I was. I told you. I'm losing it. Oh my God. But anyway, I'm lost now. So anyway, I'm just going to go into my theories. Because I totally am lost because of the phone. Next time, putting those things away. But my theory, to the lady in the penthouse that lived across from Nicole, neighbors. I've watched a lot of crime cases, and neighbors, either a couple doors down or even right beside or across the street, have a lot of times been the perpetrators. I'm not saying that she did, but she saw a woman down at the end of the hall. Now, she could have. I really don't know. She might have. But she had access to Nicole. She would know if Nicole was coming and going. She probably heard the door. And with other kids being in there, because Jeanette running the daycare, I mean, she would hear the noise of the doors opening and closing, maybe the kids getting louder. I think the police should have looked into her more, but I could be just overthinking that. As far as Arthur goes, I don't really think Arthur had anything to do with this. And I've thought this out a lot. So I'm hoping he didn't, because he's put a lot of life into this. He's 83 years old. He still lives in Epicote. He hasn't left there. And I heard that in the last few years he has given up a little hope. But he said that he didn't want to leave there just in case someday Nicole comes back. And I think he really means it. Now, this is where my biggest theory, and I mean no disrespect, because Jeanette died and passed away in 2007, I think. So she's been gone for a little bit. She never, as far as we know, saw Nicole or knew what even happened to her. But she's my number one suspect, guys. I know it sounds terrible. I've been really looking into a lot about Jeanette, and I heard that, I guess it's kind of weird, because just prior to the July 30th incident, I guess she went to Nova Scotia for a little while. So they were up there visiting, and then they came back. So they were only back for about April, May, June, 4 months before this episode happened, because they were in Nova Scotia for a little bit, just Jeanette and Nicole. She was the last person to see Nicole that day. Come on, if you've ever had a lot of kids running around the house. Now, what I did notice about Jeanette was she's a control freak or has OCD or something. Her house was pretty immaculate, so she might have known but what Nicole took that day out of the home. But if you're running around chasing a whole whack of little kids and your daughter comes flying in the door, she's all excited, she's getting ready to go to the pool, and then you know exactly what she walked out the door with when she said she went into the bedroom, she got changed, she packed up the stuff, she ran out, she said goodbye, I was attending to the children, and out the door she went at 11 o'clock exactly. Out the door. How would she know what now she could know everything that's in the bedroom, but the weird thing about that is when the police showed up that day, she just said, oh, this is what she had with her, and she left right at 11. So either maybe she went through her stuff previously to see what all she took, to know that she took a white t-shirt and white shorts with green stripes and a brush, her exact brush, and she went, like I said, when she left, she had it in a white bag, so you couldn't really see in the bag. I don't know. It's just, I've had kids. and the kids have come in and grabbed stuff, and it's like, wait, what did they take? It's like, I took this, oh, okay, and then you find out later, oh, maybe they took like, 3 fudgesicles, not one, you know what I mean? So when your attention's on to everything else, and to know that she left at exactly 11 o'clock, she could have looked at the time, or it could have been from the previous talking, not sure. And another thing that's very strange is Art Morin moved back into the home about a month into Nicole's disappearance. And about 2 months in, he was already living there for a month. This was not to reconcile. I think these two thought each other did it. But he was more leaning towards Jeanette, I think. It seemed that way from the articles that I read. And from other people that have come forward. And he was in the bedroom. This is strange, guys. This one, he was going through her stuff. And there was a notepad, some people say, or a piece of paper. There was 2 on this, but this is factual because it's in the police report. He found a notebook or a piece of paper, and on it, in Nicole's pencil, said, "I am going to disappear." Now, come on. Like, I probably would have had a conniption if I found that. Well, he did. He ran out to Jeanette, because this is creepy. This notepad had to have been written before she was gone, of course. So he ran out, and he said, "Look what I found." And in Nicole's handwriting, like printing, and in pencil, in a notepad, I found this. Jeanette, "Oh, yeah, I was, about a week prior to Nicole going missing, we were sitting down watching a show together, and we decided to watch The Disappearance of Children." Now, come on, guys. This was in the 80s, so, they didn't really do what we do today. Now we thrive on our children, don't talk to anyone, don't go with anyone, don't take anything from anyone, don't go up to a car, they don't ask kids for directions, the whole 9 yards. But I'll sit down with any child and watch a kid's movie, but I don't think at 8 years old I'm going to sit down with them and put on about kids being taken and things being done to them. And I know we talk about these things, but like I said, that's now. This was in the 80s, okay? And she was a more mature woman. But that's what she says she did. She says she sat down with Nicole, and they watched all about kids disappearing. So maybe she went in the room and just wrote that she was going to disappear one day. I find it strange. I find that's maybe Jeanette was on the phone one day, and maybe she said, Nicole's going to disappear. And she just wrote down, "I'm going to disappear." It's not funny, no, but it's very strange. And the only other thing I found strange was 15 years, like I said, her son was only little. When 15 years went by with her having no communication with her son, and one day, when she was still living at the West Mall, he just shows up at her door, knocking on it, and, "Hi, Mom." And they became very close after that. In fact, they became so close. She became so close with her son that he even named his first daughter after her. And the last thing I find that was very strange about Jeanette, the pinpoint me to more her, even though both parents have been cleared in the case, I must say, when Jeanette died in 2007, she left her obituary to her son to write, but there was already something written that he was to put in her obituary. It had her son's name, loving mother, and then it had 3 grandchildren. Now, the weird thing about this is there was no mention of Nicole at all anywhere in here. And 3 grandchildren, he didn't have 3 children. He only had 2, both females. But who's the third? Like, there was, unless it was a typo. But the one thing that's not a typo is this child's name was nowhere in that obituary. When her son died, he even put down that it was his sister and his, but Jeanette, nothing. And there was nothing even about her, even in the old will, which I found very strange. And the only other thing I can come up with is that this was in the 80s, and I think Jeanette was very bitter of our leaving. And I also feel that sometimes we reflect our pains on others. And I mean, what, she knows the pain of a child being taken away from her. And I think her reflection to get back at Arthur was to take his daughter away from him. And that's my theory. I lean towards the mother, and there's nothing they can do about that now, because she has passed, unless there has been nothing else. The only thing that I could find any leads whatsoever was they found a green, supposedly, headband, and it was like 2 parking lots over. But when they took it to Jeanette, oh no, she no clue if it was the right one, don't even remember anything all of a sudden. And even though this woman can remember times, and that's another thing, the times, guys, they were so precise. At exactly 10 o'clock we talked about going down the mill, exactly 10:30 she walked out the door, exactly 11 o'clock she went down for the, she was going to go swimming, exactly 3 o'clock, exactly 6 o'clock. And like the person said downstairs, they talked, and she looked at the time, it's almost time to call. Strange, because those are times you won't forget, because they're all and when people are emotional and things, and you're freaking out, and you don't know where someone, especially your own child, is, to know these times and be able to ring them right off. Oh, it was this time, and it was exactly this time. Me, I'd be like, I don't know what time it was. Like, it was between this and this. Just freaking do something, So that's my theory. If you like to leave your theories, comment below. If there's something I might have missed and I'm rambling on, sorry. And yeah, subscribe, thumbs up, and I will be doing another one again. And hold your children tight and always hug them good night. Bye for now. Take care.